Hi, I'm the face behind Gilded Octopus Studios, and today I'm interviewing Max from Welcome to Monday.
I'm Max with Welcome to Monday. My Twitter handle is Welcome to Monday, number two, and my website is welcometomonday.com, two spelled T-O.
What's one interesting fact about you that people might not necessarily guess?
One interesting fact about me that people would not necessarily guess, when I was young, I won several regional awards for piano performances, but I never actually learned how to properly read piano sheet music. I improvised just to what I thought the music said, and it all seemed to work out. Drove my piano teacher nuts.
What country do you live or work in?
I live and work in America, more specifically in Northern California.
What is the name of the video game company producing this project?
The video game company producing the product is my own. I'm producing this project myself under Welcome to Monday, which so far just comprises of me and my wife, who, in addition to helping design our games, helps with all my social media and community management.
What's the name of the project?
The name of the project I'm working on right now is called Beacon.
When do you think you will be releasing this project?
I'm going to be pushing out my first preview build on the 9th of September, happens to be tomorrow's at the time of this recording, but the game is far from done. I'm hoping to have a working version of the full game done before the spring of 2020, and hopefully that's a conservative estimate, hoping to have it done much sooner. Once the game is fully released, I have a lot of ideas for additional polish and under the hood improvements.
How did you get into making video games?
I originally got into making video games somewhat recently, but growing up, my dad actually owned hundreds of arcade games that he would lease out to businesses. Video games were literally my family's livelihood all the way back to the beginning, and I always thought they'd be really fun to make. My first actual foray into making games myself came about when I discovered RPG Maker VX Ace around 2012. I loved the planning and logic puzzles that were involved in creating a simple RPG, and as soon as I created my first complex dialogue tree, I was hooked on game design. Once I played around with everything in the visual scripting had to offer, I looked into writing my own scripts in Ruby, and the feeling I got when I realized I could write a script to do anything I could imagine was incredible. From there, I experimented with Game Maker Studio, Unity, and eventually Monogame, which is my current fix.
What's your background in?
As for my background, by trade I am a software developer, specifically a full stack web developer focused on UX and UI. As I mentioned earlier, video games have always been a cornerstone in my life. Once my family's livelihood, then to a hobby, and maybe someday it can become my livelihood again.
What is the game about?
What is Beacon about? Beacon is about a small maintenance slash survey bot who awakes to an apparent disaster in the space outpost in which he's stationed. In Beacon, you will delve through the base to find the fate of its inhabitants, and hopefully gain enough information to relay the inhabitants' last moments back to Earth via the eponymous beacon atop the base.
What inspired this game?
As for what inspired the game, this game was initially inspired by a prompt from a weekly game jam on itch.io. The prompt given was simply a sad ending, which I pretty much immediately converted to a bittersweet ending. From there, I latched onto the feeling of bittersweet and let that guide the rest of the design.
What makes it unique?
Yeah, Beacon is unique in that its obstacles are comprised primarily of platforming and puzzle solving, rather than navigating around enemies and hazards. In fact, there will be no damage or death mechanic in Beacon at all. Tension instead lies in the mystery of the circumstances around you and the desire to know more.
What will make this game a success?
What will make it a success? Having a complete, satisfying game with a playtime of more than a handful of minutes will be enough for me to consider this game a success.
Who do you think this game will appeal to?
I think Beacon will appeal to a wide variety of people, since its gameplay loop is made up of exploration, platforming, and puzzle solving. The game will be approachable by gamers of all skill levels and ages.
How many people are working on this project, and what sort of skill sets do they have?
How many people are working on this project and what are their skill sets? There are only two people working on this project, me and my wife. I'm doing the programming, lead design, music, and most of the artwork. Some supplemental artwork has been purchased from some other creators on itch, but a lot of it's my own. My wife is doing much of the writing and assisting in overall design, in addition to handling all of the social media.
How are you handling art?
Most of the art that I'm creating myself as it is needed, while the basic tile set for the background of the starting area I purchased from another creator on itch.io by the name of GTibo, GTIBO. My art tool of choice for this game has been Aciprite, but I also make heavy use of GIMP and Inkscape as well.
What tech stack are you using?
Over the years, as I've been working on games, I've been taking the most programmatically useful and portable parts of my games and sticking them into a single code library I've used in subsequent games. This library, which I now call Ladybug, has grown into a full-blown framework that sits atop Monogame and is what does most of the heavy lifting in Beacon. Aside from Ladybug, for Beacon, I have to give a lot of credit to Tiled, a tilemap editor created by Thorbjorn. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, also available on itch. Tiled has made making the rooms in Beacon a breeze, and I was able to easily write a tile map importer for Ladybug that could handle tiled maps. As for specific development tools I use Microsoft's Visual Studio Code as my primary editor, and I use Git to share and back up my project.
Are you full-time? If so, how did you make the transition to working full-time in game development?
Unfortunately, I'm not full-time. I have a very supportive and rewarding day job where I learn skills every day that help me become a better developer. I like the idea of someday becoming a full-time developer. I would love to be able to give the community more games in a shorter amount of time, but in the meantime, I'm in a good place.
Is this your first game, or have you made other game projects?
While Beacon is not technically my first game, I would definitely call it my first full-sized game. The first game I published was also a product of a game jam on itch.io, a game called Ouroboros, where you control a snake, much like the original Snake game we all know and love, except in Ouroboros, instead of picking up an apple that lays still on the ground, you have to take a lantern from the tail of another snake which moves around the screen. Snatching a moving object is hard enough, but that's not the real catch of Ouroboros. The catch is, once you've caught the lantern the first time from the randomly controlled AI snake, the next snake you have to snatch the lantern from is a recording of your previous round, so you're essentially taking it from your past self.
What's been the hardest thing about making this game?
So far, Beacon has been cooperative in its development, thanks in large to the maturity of Ladybug and the help of excellent community tools like Tiled. That being said, it's not been immune to the challenges that all indie game devs face, like discipline, motivation, and time dedication. Discipline is a huge requirement to steadily and effectively create games, but continues to be a challenge for me, and I think many indie devs feel the same. We all have so much going on in our lives, it's easy to misprioritize game development as just another hobby or free time activity, when I would like to treat it as a second job, something I do every day so that I can have fresh new games for everybody to enjoy.
Is there anything else you would like people to know about you or the game?
If anybody is curious to learn more about me and Welcome to Monday, don't hesitate to tweet me or get in contact through itch or my website. My wife and I are friendly folk who don't mind chatting with you about anything at all. And for Beacon, the original Game Jam build is available right now on itch for free, and eventually will be replaced with a whole demo/prologue to the events of Beacon, which will also be available for free. I'll be posting in-progress builds every other week, and while the game is in development, you can get it for a very low price. If you like my games, also consider becoming a patron through my Patreon, which can give you free access to all games I release, both in-dev versions and the full, complete versions upon release.
Thank you so much for watching this interview with Max from Welcome to Monday. Remember to check out my blog at gildedoctopusstudios.com. Everybody have a great Monday.